You're holding a torch made of animal fat. The flame is small. It barely reaches the walls. You've walked for 20 minutes into total darkness, away from daylight, away from your group, away from everything familiar. The air is cold and damp. The tunnel is narrow. And then the ceiling opens up, and you see them. Horses, lions, a mammoth, a rhinoceros. Dozens of animals painted across the rock in confident, sweeping lines, so precise they look alive. Some of them appear to be moving, their legs drawn in multiple positions, the way a flipbook works. Nobody told you this room was here. Someone else found it. Someone else painted these walls. And they did it 30,000 years ago. Why? That question has haunted archaeologists for over a century. And the answer, when you actually dig into the evidence, is stranger and more human than most people expect. Start with where the paintings are. Not near cave entrances where the light reaches. Not where people slept or cooked or stored food. Deep inside. At Chauvet Cave in France, some of the world's oldest known paintings are located hundreds of meters from daylight, in chambers you can only reach by crawling and climbing. At Lascaux, also in France, the most spectacular images sit at the end of a shaft that required a rope to descend. These weren't decorations for daily life. Whatever they were for, they required effort. They required intention. Someone chose to go deep. Now look at what they painted. In cave after cave, across tens of thousands of years and thousands of kilometers, the same subjects appear. Horses, bison, aurochs, mammoths, lions, rhinoceroses, deer. Not plants, not rivers, not landscapes. Animals again and again, rendered with a level of observational accuracy that stops you cold. The horses at Chauvet have individual muscle definition. The lions show social behavior. Whoever painted these had spent enormous amounts of time watching these animals in the wild, and had found a way to transfer that knowledge onto stone. But there's something even more striking, hidden in plain sight on many of these walls. Human hands, painted by blowing pigment around an outstretched palm pressed flat against the rock. Dozens of them at some sites, hundreds at others. Left hands mostly, which suggests the artist held the blowpipe in their right. Think about what that means. Someone stood in the darkness of a cave, pressed their hand against the stone, and left their mark. Not an animal, not a symbol. Their hand. The most personal thing you carry. That's not information. That's not a hunting map. That's something else entirely. Archaeologist Ian Davidson and others have argued that the act of making these images may have been as important as the images themselves. That the cave wasn't a gallery, but a place. A specific kind of place where humans did something they couldn't do anywhere else. The darkness, the isolation, the echo, the flickering light making painted animals appear to breathe and move. All of it may have been deliberate, a constructed experience. Some researchers point to evidence of repeated visits to the same caves over generations, even millennia. At some sites, paintings are layered on top of older paintings. New artists return to the same walls their ancestors had used centuries later. The caves were remembered. They were returned to. Whatever happened inside them mattered enough to pass down. Here's the twist. We tend to think of cave painting as a primitive impulse. Something humans did before they had real tools, real language, real thought. But the evidence runs exactly the other way. The oldest known cave art appears precisely when anatomically modern human cognition was fully in place. These weren't pre-human scrawls. They were made by people who thought the way we think, felt the way we feel, and apparently needed to do something with that. To put it somewhere permanent, somewhere outside themselves. Something the cave walls could hold that their own minds couldn't. You still do it. You take a photo of something that moves you. You write your name somewhere you've been. You draw in the margins of notebooks. You keep journals nobody will ever read. You tattoo things onto your skin so you never forget. The impulse to make a mark, to say I was here, I saw this mattered to me, is not a primitive instinct we've outgrown. It's one of the things that makes us human in the first place. 30,000 years ago, someone crawled to the back of a cave in total darkness and pressed their hand against the stone. We still don't know exactly why, but we haven't stopped doing it since.